Hello, my name is Greta Harrison. Welcome to Born Fabulous Podcast, Season 3, Episode 5. The theme of this season is young adults with intellectual disabilities living full lives of independence and interdependence. You will hear interviews with parents, support staff, and of course, the young adults with intellectual disabilities. Please note that these interviews were done 1 to 2 years ago. Achieving independence is a complex journey for many individuals and families. There were many stops and starts with various entities when putting together Season 3. Regardless, this content is very relevant and we hope you will find it helpful. This episode is the second of 2 episodes with Patti McKeon. Patti is retired and is best known as Kayla's mother. Kayla McKeon made history as the first professional lobbyist with Down syndrome. Please enjoy this short clip of Love is a Potion. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, a young lady who had Down syndrome and was the focus of episodes 1 through 4 in Season 1. The music and voice are by Rachel Fuller. Kayla used to travel a lot for her job when she's still working for NDSS, but because of COVID, things are different. You know, she's not traveling like she used to. Right. She used to have many public speaking engagements. I mean, every week she would be somewhere different.
Yes.
Do you foresee a new normal for Kayla with more Zooms and less travel, or do they think it's going to go back to the way it was?
Well, I think it's kind of working up to it. She's supposed to travel in March and April now. We try to keep it a little bit to a minimum because we don't want it to be on school days. If we can avoid that. She is going to miss one school day, but we try to keep that. She's getting so close to the end. We don't want her to, not pass a class, although she gets A's a lot of time, but because we, don't extend this any longer. She wants that degree. So we try to keep it to that, but no, they are starting to travel again. I think some things will probably be Zoom still, but I mean, she was invited to Texas to speak at a gala the end of March. I don't know if that's been approved yet, but and then she has to go for something for NDSS in April. So I think things are, if we don't get another variant that's worse, or if we don't, who knows what's going to come up. We'll always get boosted if there's another booster. We're in favor. So, I think that things will come back to, I don't know if it'll be what normal was before, the new normal. I hate to even say that, but what we will consider our normal afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, I can foresee, just speaking personally, I can foresee always wanting to wear a mask on a plane, no matter.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean, why do you want to catch whatever the people on the plane have? So I can see, I know that I'm not the only one who said that. So there will be some things that might change, but you think that the traveling is going to gradually increase, and
I do,
get closer to what it was. Okay.
Right. As long as, like I said, as long as something else doesn't happen, that prevents that. But I think we're working up to that. I think people have to see people face to face these days. Mm-hmm. It's yourself, what the, I don't know, the solo being alone, especially for our children, I mean, that was a big deal. Kayla didn't go out with her mentors for probably, I don't know. Well, it got better in the summer, I guess. She started going out in the summer. But it's been 2 years since she's traveled. It's been 2 years since we've traveled. We're going next week, so we'll see what that airport looks like and everything. But they have to have that interaction. I commend NDSS for getting the coffee thing together. I think, yes, it was involved, but getting that together because they got to talk at least with friends and, experience what everybody else was experiencing. They saw that, and that was a good thing for everyone, I think.
It was, and I want to give NDSS a plug for that because my daughter Yazzie did enjoy the weekly Zoom coffee chats, and then I think that was a sign that things were getting a little closer to normal when that organically slowed down and then stopped because people are working again and they're getting busy. So but kudos to NDSS because they were there when people needed them, and they're always there when people need them.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, they're constantly fighting behind the scenes for legislation to make everybody's lives better, and it starts with people with Down syndrome, but it really doesn't end with people with Down syndrome. Many of the issues are broader than that.
Yes.
So they're helping many people.
Yes.
So, and one of the big things they're working on right now is organ donation and transplants. So if you don't know, check them out. Go to their website.
They're working on marriage equality, and there was something else I was just going to say that they work tirelessly on, but I have to talk to my daughter about that one.
Yeah, but marriage equality, that's another big
Alzheimer's.
one.
That was.
Oh yeah, Alzheimer's, and I have to say, Global Down Syndrome Foundation is doing a lot of work on that too. I mean, we're lucky to have 3 organizations that do a lot of work: NDSC, Global, and NDSS.
Yep.
So, but and really, a lot of gratitude to Kayla for being the voice, because and she has said this. I've heard her say this many times to me and to others: nothing about us without us, right? And Kayla is the voice for so many. So kudos.
And she likes to say also that, she feels she speaks for the people that aren't able to. She feels she has a voice for the people that don't have a voice. And she really feels strongly about that.
Exactly. And she herself is a mentor in a different way, in the original sense of the term. She's a mentor. She's a mentor to my daughter, who's only 21. She's a mentor to many who look up to her. So she's making the world better every day.
Thank you.
So let's talk about some of the rewards of Kayla's independence.
Well, that's what we all strive for. We have family, but they're all our age pretty much, so we always worry about, what's going to happen to Kayla afterwards. So the day she moved into her apartment, I felt better because I know that she's going to be able to take care of herself, I believe. And she will have people that will help her. But, we're not always going to be here. So I want the best for her, to be able to do things on her own and have, support. But, so that's what we all strive for, is the best for our children.
What about some of the pitfalls or the worries that keep you up at night?
I can't say there's a lot right now. I really can't. I can say when she was in Washington, I was terrified. Every day I would sit by that phone, make her text me when she got off the transit system, Metro. But what was I going to do here in Syracuse if she didn't text right away, or if I didn't, I have to say she's very good at taking Ubers. She would take an Uber, and sometimes they would leave her off and say, "This is where I'm leaving you," and she'd have to negotiate or navigate that. There was a lot she didn't tell me till she got back. How somebody left her off the first week. I think somebody left her off 2 blocks from her apartment, but she had just moved there. And she had to figure out which way it was, They were lucky because there was like kind of a dumpster at the corner of the street. So she would say to them, "Go to the dumpster." But, there were times when, like I said, she didn't tell me that things that I would have been scared to death over. So I think when she moved back here, it was like a moment, and so moving into her apartment now where it's so close and very safe, and she has a great roommate, it's like feels great, so I don't lose sleep now. There were many times when I did, but I don't right now.
Okay. Now that's, I think, what every parent's dream is. And I think in you saying that, you also highlighted some of the rewards of her independence, that she's like Tim Harris and many others I know who love to take Ubers, and she's very good at it. But you say that like that's nothing, but that isn't nothing, because there's many self-advocates who don't do that. So I agree. That's a great reward right there, that she's able to think on the spot. Anybody who's spoken to Kayla, whether it's informally or formally, she is very good about thinking on her feet. And she had to think on her feet when she's dropped off at the wrong spot in a city that she doesn't know yet. Right. And so that's probably because of her independent spirit. But I can imagine the worry that was. So, right. But you don't have that worry now. You have the peace of mind of knowing that she's on her way to being just okay. She'll be fine. Yeah. And
I believe so. I worry. I guess what I worry about sometimes is when she's on a trip. Because I work for the airlines and we traveled standby a lot. From when Kayla was very little, you would go standby and you'd have to wait at the airport sometimes all day to get on a flight. So she was very self-sufficient, and you got to read because we're going to be here till the next flight. See if we can get on that one, and we'd change. Sometimes we'd have her at one gate and us at another to hear if our name was called. And, so she's comfortable in the airports. The only worry I have is on a connection if she gets stuck somewhere. So I guess, sometimes I remember calling the airport one time and saying, you have to, they can't hold planes for her, but I said, there's somebody running to the plane, and she has to have staff that will meet her in an airport and make sure that she gets on a plane to home or to the next place, so that she's not stuck in a city having to find a hotel. And many times I've told her, if you're in it, a lot of the airports have hotels right there. If you're ever stuck, go to that hotel. I don't care how much it costs, check in there, and that's where, stay there but I really, really impress upon her that I want someone to meet her at a connection and travel with her. And that has happened most of the time. There's been one or two times it hasn't worked right, but, in general it does. But I guess that's my biggest worry, of being stuck in a city that she's not familiar with on a connection.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of things that I want to touch on here. I'm really glad that you just talked about the airports and how independent she is there. And again, looks like some of the rewards of her independence right there. Right. And what you did when she was younger by getting her so comfortable there.
Right.
But I wanted to talk about her roommate situation, because I forgot to ask a few questions there. So I want to go back to that. Sure. With Alyssa, I know Alyssa's a very good friend of hers. And they're roommates by choice, and they wanted to be roommates for a long time. But you also mentioned that she's also a mentor. Right. So delve into how that relationship works.
Well, Alyssa's always worked with her one day a week. They went out and did things in the community on Fridays. She did take one class with her when it fell on a Friday. But now it's a different situation, because they're in the apartment and now they can clean on Fridays, or they can, get some work done around the apartment in addition to, run errands, go out and pay their, rent or whatever. So that's the day that she specifically works with her. There are other times when they're cooking or something like that she can work with her as well. But in general, there's a lot of things they do together that aren't paid, that Um, so yeah, they are friends. They did it as friends. As a matter of fact, at one point, we thought in one of Kayla's programs it was going to pay Alyssa some money for living with her, and that didn't work out. And so Kayla said to her, "Are you still going to live with me?" She said, "Yes, of course." So she didn't care that it was, that they're a 50-50 split on everything. So she didn't care that it was going to be that way. She wanted to live with Kayla as Kayla wanted to live with her.
So they're a 50-50 split like any other roommates.
Absolutely.
See, that's something, every situation, that's what I'm hoping to explore this season. Every situation is different. And sometimes that's not the case. And so that's really great. She just really wanted to be her roommate.
Yes,
yeah.
It is great.
That's wonderful. So,
and I commend her because Alyssa is not gluten-free and Kayla is, but yet they cook gluten-free and Alyssa eats gluten-free. And that's huge because, having celiac disease, you have to worry about crumbs and different spoons and, it's a lot to take in, and she's just embraced it. And that's what they do.
Okay. I really, really love the relationship that Kayla has with Alyssa. Now, I know Kayla is bubbly, energetic. She makes friends easily. So that's a great benefit of that. Mm-hmm. But I also remember Kayla saying to me personally, and you saying, that because of what Kayla has done, first in school and then afterwards, a lot of people don't realize she still needs support. And she has a disability and she still needs support. So I'm hoping that people are hearing, some of the ways, it could be small and they could be bigger, where she's gotten support, but she's still the independent, spunky Kayla that we all know and love.
Right. Yeah, she has a mentor that goes to class with her. They help her. They help her a lot of times. I just was the mentor for the first month of class, and until we just hired another person. But they take notes, and Kayla takes notes. So that way, if Kayla misses something, they have notes, but Kayla's not just blowing it off. They do it at the same time. I believe they probably do the same thing I did. I kind of sat back and was a fly on the wall and let Kayla handle the class. And then if there's something afterwards you want to talk about that you might not have gotten, they can do that.
But they're not sitting right next to her. They're
generally they are probably.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because the classroom is set up that way. I mean, I wouldn't have them sit in the back of the room.
But nobody can tell. It's not like it's, like the situation in high school where she had the one-on-one who.
Oh yeah.
We have all seen one-on-ones like that. They love your child so much that they're too much, and that's not helpful. So it's not like that. Somebody watching the class is not going to know. They're just going to think they're in the class.
Probably maybe when I went, because I was so much older, maybe they knew, but no, I don't think they know that. That's why we like to try to have peers go with her. She's getting older now, so the peers could be a little older. But no, we have tried to have peers with her so that she doesn't stick out. We don't want her to stick out. She is like everybody else. So you want her to be treated like everybody else.
Yes, and I want people to know that Kayla has said often how she has to approach professors and say, I have to travel for my job. I might be gone this day, this day, and this day. Kayla does that. She doesn't wait for her mentor to do that. Kayla does that. So,
she does it at the beginning of the semester with every professor. She writes to them and she tells them that she has Down syndrome, but that won't affect how she works. She will work very hard in the class. She tells them that I will have a mentor with me. Is there anything that I should go to the disability office for? Because she would get extended time for tests if she needed it. The disability office would send it back to the professor, telling them, she'll go into an alternate setting to take her test. The mentor does not go into the alternate setting with her for the tests or anything. So she sets that all up ahead of time. And she will tell them, I may travel for my job. will this be okay? I will work ahead of time, or I will do whatever I can to, keep up. Sometimes if it was a remote class and she could, take her computer, do it. We've had online classes, remote classes, we've had it all. So we were on vacation in Florida one time, and she every day went in and took her class while we were there, and, did her work while she was there. But so yes, she does all that on her own.
Okay. So what resources, websites, videos, etc., can you think of that maybe that you want to mention now? And I want everybody to know that there will be a page for the people who are in season 3 on bornfabulouspodcast.com, and they can go there. And so there will be a list of things that you can send to me later. But is there anything in specific that you want to touch on or mention?
Greta, I don't have those. Kayla's an only child. We didn't have anybody to compare her to, so we always just treated her like every other child. We didn't know any better. So we did have like NDSS as a resource. There was a group years ago, Down syndrome group in Syracuse, that maybe we went to. They're no longer operating. We didn't read up on it. I have to say, I went to a conference one time where they said, don't squash their dreams. And that is our mantra. We always said to her, if you want to be a dentist, you might not be able to be a dentist, but you can maybe go work in that office, or if you want to be a senator, you might not be a senator, but you can be a lobbyist. We didn't say that, of course, but
it happened.
That's right. But we always said, try for what you want to do. Don't stop. We never put any limits on her. So unfortunately, I don't think I have a lot of resources like that. We never try. We always said to her, you have to be better behaved, because we always felt that people had perceptions of people with Down syndrome not behaving. So we always said, you have to be better than anybody else. You can't sit back and, just, you have to try harder and do better. But we never bribed her with food to do something. We never, it's just, we treated her as one person, and it worked for us. But, I can't say we were very fortunate. Kayla's a very smart girl. We feel blessed in that. She's done so much of it on her own.
But you touched on something really, really profound there. Kayla was and continues to be the first in many things. And sadly, I know, because Yazzy's younger at 21, she's been the first at many things. So unfortunately, it hasn't progressed as quickly as we would like it to. And when you're the first, you do have to work harder.
Right.
You do have to, you have to be better. You have to work harder. You have to do all those things, because you're really being the first for not just you, but those behind you.
Right.
Which is true for any minority.
Right.
Not just people with Down syndrome. It's true for any minority, but people often forget that it's true for people with Down syndrome, and it's true for people with disabilities. And they often do have to work harder. So you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Every A that Kayla has gotten in her life, which are many of them, I know she worked probably 10 times harder. And all those hours and that determination. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So, but you also brought up which I think are some of the most important resources, at least when it comes to Down syndrome, are large organizations, NDSS, NDSC, and Global Down Syndrome Foundation.
Absolutely.
Because we're fortunate to have all three of those. And if you are in this realm as a parent or an educator or a community member or a family member, or self-advocates, you need to know about those organizations and be members.
And we have gone to all three. We have, as far as resources. Absolutely.
Yeah, we need to all support them and be involved. But beyond them, we have the ARC, and we have other organizations that are more global in reach, meaning they don't just cover Down syndrome.
Correct.
We need to support them. So, yes. Well, is there anything else, advice that you have? I mean, you touched on don't squash your dreams. I love that.
No, like I said, I feel that you have to presume competence. I always say to people that Kayla is very fortunate because she has so much more available to her than the people before her. And the people coming up behind her will have so much more than she does right now. And that's a good thing because we have to progress.
Thank you for saying that. When we all get frustrated with the slow progress that we see on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, we have to remember in the long haul, we are making progress.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
And that's what Kayla's working for all the time.
Yeah.
So,
And some people before her blazed that for her. So
that's true. So thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I don't think so. But thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Patti. It's a joy to know your daughter and it's a joy to know you. I do want people to know that we would have loved to talk to Mark, but he is very busy being a mentor himself.
Correct.
And that's wonderful that he does that. But Mark and Patti share the same philosophy. So yes. Mark is here in spirit. So
he is.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Greta.
Thank you for listening to episode 5 of Born Fabulous Podcast 3rd season. I hope you enjoyed it and want to hear more. Short video clips from most episodes are available on our YouTube channel and our bornfabulouspodcast.com. You will meet Patti's daughter, Kayla McKeon, and her roommate, Alyssa, in episodes 6 through 8. Kayla is the first professional lobbyist with Down syndrome, sought-after keynote speaker, podcast host, and more. You will love those episodes. Please follow and like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be honored if you would leave a review wherever you heard this podcast. Now, please enjoy this clip of Love is a Potion. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, who was the focus of episodes 1 through 4 in season 1. She had Down syndrome. The music and voice are by Rachel Fuller.